In the tunnel.
In the tunnel.
In the tunnel. You're listening to In the Tunnel.
Hello and welcome to In the Tunnel. I'm Jeremy,
I'm Shaan.
and we're back for episode number 5. We're talking hockey. We're talking a little NFL draft because why not do it like a month later? I mean, pretty sure it's happening right now, but we're doing it 11 months early, really. And we're probably gonna talk basketball for 4 or 5 minutes just to lull ourselves to sleep. So yeah, let's get into it.
All right, so let's just jump straight into hockey. We'll start with the one series that has finished as of today. Boston and Tampa Bay. As of this afternoon, Tampa just won the series 4-1.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Happy to be wrong about my prediction for Boston and win it all. I love when Boston teams go down, but in 5 games, I would have never seen this one coming.
I just think I mean, don't get me wrong, but officiating is hard, but I think like all the controversy surrounding Marchand and stuff just put Boston in a bad light.
Yeah, well, it's very hard to be in a good light when you're licking people's faces.
Hey, but bright note, we don't have to deal with that anymore.
uh, should we have been dealing with it to begin with, though?
I mean, when you have to deal with Marchand, you got to deal with a lot of crap.
I guess, but can't we
I
keep it
mean,
to like
cause,
30 hits and not borderline casual
but
hookups
like,
on the ice?
but like, I don't hate Boston. I just dislike Marchand with a passion.
So you hate
And
you hate
well, yeah, I
Marchand.
hate Marchand, but not Boston. The rest of the team's okay.
Okay.
They're pretty cool
Well,
and good people.
uh, yeah.
But like about like Marchand licking others, right? Like there's a rule about spitting on others. Isn't like licking the same thing except you're transferring more saliva?
I don't know if spitting and licking someone's face is the same thing, but you have to think that it takes a certain amount of focus and a certain amount of dedication to be licking someone's face in a hockey game. So yeah, it's one of those things where we could probably talk about for an hour and still not figure out why the heck he had this thought that he needed to be doing this.
Yeah.
I
Um
really don't know what to say. This one kind of
I
freaked
mean,
me out.
but also my problem was like Marchand's the one that did it twice. Why is the NHL warning a different series on the West Coast, a Western Conference about licking giving them 10-minute
If it's
misconducts?
his
Like
second warning, why is it just a warning? I mean,
no, but the NHL didn't like come out and warn anybody on the Boston and Tampa series. They went the next day and specifically told the Jets and
hey,
Predators
don't be licking each other while you're up there
players,
playing in Canada.
you can't don't be licking anybody. It's a 10-minute misconduct. Like, first of all, like that series has been physical and whatnot, but nobody was licking or anybody
Yeah,
or anything
no,
close to
no
that, so they
affection
don't
on the
need to be
ice.
warned.
No affection on the ice. It's a shame. The league's going to absolute trash. Can't spread the love on the ice. You could have Broadway shows on ice. You can have anything on the ice. Back to the Future on ice. Let's do it. But no licking each other on the ice.
But in all seriousness about this series, um, I think it was fairly close.
I mean,
Of
I think that they played equal to each other, but when one in terms of the series, but each game I think one showed up more than the other because the scores would dictate like that they weren't always the closest. I think Boston's defense kind of struggled in the later part of the series.
Yeah, no, so I was looking up some stats, right? So Boston, their first line of Pasternak, Marchand, and
Hmm.
Bergeron,
Hmm.
they are as of today, numbers 3, 4, and 5 in playoff scoring right now.
Yeah, I think number one is Gensel and number two is Crosby.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
I
mean
mean,
one line to be in the top five as it is pretty
but
impressive.
I mean that just shows you that
That's
it
how
looks like
lopsided it
they
is.
all needed to be on all the time for Boston to win.
Yeah, that's how lopsided it was.
And
Which
because then if you like look at if you look at like the other teams, right? You look at Tampa, their top scorer is number 11 on NHL's
postseason points.
ranking. Yeah, postseason rankings.
All right.
And you look for anybody else in on Boston, the next person you see is number 15. Number 15 on the list is Torrey Krug.
Yeah, a defenseman
Whatever.
probably not good days there.
Yeah, but hey, and then you got to go all the way down into the 20s for Krejci.
Mm-hmm. And then Pasternak's probably near there, but
No,
still both.
Pasternak's on the first line, dude. He's on the top
Hey,
5.
so player of the year. Hey,
But like
that Boston line.
they have a huge gap in scoring, and once once they don't show up, like it's
It's over.
literally over.
Yeah, which makes me a little nervous for if it's the Caps here. Because, I mean, as a Penguins fan, we're only one player outside of being that same thing.
I don't think so because it's not. At least your players are spread across what 3 lines. Well, at least
I
the
mean,
ones that I.
Malkin's been the only other guy scoring outside of Crosby and Gensel.
Yeah, but your other lines, even though they're not scoring, I feel like they're doing good things, like producing zone time and.
Gotta stop passing the puck so much. We're doing too much dancing around, not enough shooting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I picked Boston to win it all, and I think I misread that one heavily, and I'm
I don't think
happy
it was
about
a
it.
heavy
Well,
misread.
it turned out to be. But
Because I think the series was close. I mean, yes, it's a 4-1, but
it was a close 4-1. Like
it it was a
yeah, each
4-1
game could
like
have gone either way.
Vegas swept the Kings.
Yeah, game could have gone either way. It just turns out that most games went one way.
Yeah.
Which is a shame if you're just looking for that 7-game series, but I don't know. Each individual game was probably worth the price of admission.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I think it was a pretty good series. Again, like Tampa, they just showed up, and I think they had a little bit of luck on the calls. Like, I mean, not to say that the refs are biased or anything, but it's a really hard job, and like, you literally have this one guy named Brad Marchand who's making a fool out of the refs by licking people, and then the NHL has to come out and say something, and the refs are just like, screw you.
I mean, you have to think in that one game where he's licking something, that has to throw the refs off for the rest of the game. Like, if you don't know the rule book inside and out, how do you handle that well?
No, there is actually no rule about licking. There's
Yeah,
only one about
yeah.
spitting.
So that then makes the rest of the officiating for that game a little more interesting because it's like you set the bar for licking and everything else probably could justifiably be a 10-minute misconduct. Because if you're licking someone, it can only get worse with hits.
Yeah.
So, I mean, kudos to the refs for, I guess, doing whatever they needed to do with it. I have not explored the lick more. I really had no desire to spend any time in the quote unquote lab researching that. Would have scared me beyond being able to sleep.
Yeah, so let's move on to Washington and Pittsburgh.
Uh, uh all right. I mean, look, we've been giving away too many games, and
I
Matt
mean, I
Murray's
think,
not looked the same as he has the past 2 years, and it's really a shame.
but I also think it's not really all on Matt Murray. You guys made some pretty terrible defensive choices last game.
I mean, have you seen our personnel on defense? We have a guy from waivers that's like been in our lineup for most of the season. We signed Matt
I don't.
Hunwick to a 3-year deal. We haven't seen him since he had like a 2-week injury in November.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, your defense, they're messing up on like really basic plays for NHL
Yep.
level defensemen. And
Yep. Good times.
it's not plays they would have messed up on earlier. It's just like literally they just blew
Yep.
coverage.
Like
I
skated
think I
to the
saw
other
blown
end of
coverage
the
by them
ice.
like 10 times.
Yeah, they basically left the dude wide open, and both defensemen skated to one side of the ice, which that really works well in a 1-on-2, and both people are not in the way of the one. I don't know. Kind of makes it hard to defend when there's nothing to defend on your side of the ice. And then you add another person to it, and basically, well, what are we doing here? So yeah, I mean, Sullivan is a great coach, but for some reason, adjustments, I guess, just haven't really been made this year. He's had control of the locker room the past 2 years, and I hope he gets it back and you know fixes this in time. But it looks more like the Capitals' year, not even just because it's the 3-2 series lead for them, but just like you can feel like when a goal is about to happen, and more times than not, you feel that the Capitals are about to score. I mean, that's
Yeah,
just
but
how
okay,
it's been
so
on
the one
my
thing
end.
as a neutral fan, like the one thing that stood out about this series, like I chose one thing. So like how I chose to talk about Marchand licking others in the other series, right? This one was Wilson's hit
Mm-hmm.
on, was it Zach Aston Reeves?
Zach Aston
Or
Reese, the hit that people say was in the shoulders and gave him a concussion. So uh, broke his jaw and gave him a concussion in the same hit to the shoulders.
no, that was not how it happened.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but
exactly.
you.
But that I've been on Instagram. People think that it was a hit to the shoulders that gave him a concussion.
I mean, I don't. I think it's pretty clearly not just a hit to the
Yeah,
shoulder.
yeah. You would think that the brain injury might have something to do with the fact that cause and effect, but
Well, I mean,
good luck convincing
if
those
we were just
people.
talking about a concussion, that could just be
It
whiplash.
could be,
But
but the broken
it
jaw
was a
kind
broken
of,
jaw.
yeah,
Yeah.
two for the price of one. And see, like, I don't think it was the most like uh broke the rule kind of hit either. I do think it was probably more incidental contact than anything. But after the game 2 hit, where again it was on the line, not over the line in terms of it being a dirty play or not. You
Well,
can't,
I
in
mean,
my opinion, you just can't toe the line like that consistently and not be
but
expected to
I
get
mean,
booted.
if you're Brad Marchand, you can lick players twice and then get other teams yelled at about
Okay,
it.
but Tom Wilson has been suspended for hits in like the preseason. So,
I mean, so Marchand's been suspended repeatedly for spears and hit.
yeah, not with his tongue. I guess that's the
But
difference there.
I mean, I don't. I think by the NHL suspending him for 3 games, which would be games 4, 5, and 6 of the series, they're saying it was a dirty hit quite clearly. Because if they thought it was a borderline hit that he's just getting too close to the line, they would just give him a game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I can see it either way. Me personally, I can understand why uh, people don't like the call, but I say again, you can't do this every game and expect it to like not be noticed. So this is why it was noticed. After game 2, he didn't get suspended for something that I think you would say, and even I would say, probably wasn't a suspendable hit, but uh, a lot of people thought it might end up in a suspension. And then,
No, it was not a suspendable hit.
yeah, exactly. But again, it's my thing of like, you can't toe the line like that every game.
Yeah, but I mean, even so, I agree with you that that is true, but I think that if the NHL thought he was just towing the line, they would have only given him one game, not three.
That's where I think a little differently because I feel like they could have done that after game two.
But I thought no, but like I thought that was a completely clean hit. And if you're gonna say somebody's towing the line, that was really the most borderline hit that was still clean that he'd done in the playoffs.
Yeah, I guess you're right, but
So
still.
I don't think you can call it drawing a line until the second hit, which was in game three.
Yeah, I guess. Uh, I don't know. I'm not mad that he got a 3 game suspension. It's not the first time that he's got a 3 game suspension, but um, look, the Capitals have found ways to win without him, and he's one of their top first line players. So it's kind of proven that maybe they didn't need to have him kicked out anyway, or like they could have won without him. So
I mean, they're proving that right
I mean,
now.
they're 1-1 without Wilson. It's not like
I
they're on
mean,
this huge cup run just yet.
no, but I mean, I think if they went 0-2, right? So they'd be on game 6 back in Pittsburgh. It'd be really hard for them to
Right,
win
but
game 6.
Ovechkin's line
But
has been more quiet with Wilson out.
true, true.
Like Ovechkin had the go-ahead assist in the game last night, but outside of that, he really hasn't accounted for anything. And neither has that line with Wilson out because Wilson being the kind of sort of physical agitator role, he opens up the space for those other guys.
Yeah,
But like you have that both teams have up and down periods. So I'm just hoping that the worst is yet to come for the Capitals, and there seems to be there is an NBC graphic that shows that since 1998, we're talking any professional team in the DC area that is 1 win away from being in the final 4 teams left in any postseason. NFL playoffs, baseball playoffs, NBA playoffs, Stanley Cup playoffs. No Washington D.C. team has won any of those games where they were 1 win away from the next round since 1998. The Capitals are 0-6, the Nationals are 0-4, Redskins are 0-2, the Wizards are 0-1. So if you're a Penguins fan, there's still a chance. There's still hope.
the stats are in your favor.
Stats are in your favor, and
But
if
that
you want to
means
improve your
basically
odds,
nothing.
alcohol is an option.
Please don't recommend people drink on
I,
our
I,
show.
I didn't recommend that they drink a lot, just enough to forget the loss. I'm gonna retract that statement. Don't drink. Just be ready. Just be ready for whatever you need to do, whatever coping mechanism you have. Just keep it handy, um, whether it be liquid or solid.
All right, well, moving
Yeah,
on.
to the west where they play the games
I
later.
think the series are more fun in the West.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
So
they actually have like competition.
yeah, so let's talk Nashville and Winnipeg. It's currently what was it, 3-2 Nashville? Or no,
Winnipeg's up.
3-2 Winnipeg.
And PK Subban has declared that it is time to make the big promise that just like John Tortorella did for the Columbus Blue Jackets, he said to the media, we'll win the next game and we'll be back here for a game 7. Now the head coach of the Blue Jackets, Tortorella, um, didn't really work for him. He didn't win his guarantee. didn't get to cash that one in from Vegas. So we'll see how that goes. The guarantee is kind of like the curse, in my opinion. It always seems to work the opposite way. Like, oh, we're gonna win. We're gonna come back, and we're gonna win here. It's like, okay, so you're kind of looking ahead. Like I know you're not trying
Yeah.
to look ahead, but you're looking ahead. So that leads me to think Jets in six.
All right, so I had a couple of points, right? So I think Nashville's defense and goaltending as a group have
A
been
little sloppy, a little shaky.
completely different game to game. Like literally game 1 to game
Mm-hmm.
2 to 3 to 4, all like they've been so different and you're just like which defense and goaltending well, what are they going to actually show this game?
Yes,
Cuz that will literally decide if they win or
seeing
lose.
seeing some interesting takes on if Saros might be taking the net in some of these upcoming games with Renee looking a little shaky.
You can't put Saros in a do or die
You
situation.
you
Like,
can't, but
I'm
that
a
seems
big
to
fan
be
of,
the topic of discussion.
but I'm a big fan of putting him in, but put him in last game. Give him 2 games. Don't put him
Yeah,
in a game in which is literally do or
yeah.
die.
You've become an ambassador to the don't throw him under the bus game.
You literally, like, it's the worst thing to do.
Yeah, it's like all you basically put all the pressure on the backup goaltender who really had nothing done. Like he did nothing wrong. He just like I mean, it's his moment, sure, but he is like you take the solidified starter out and give him no blame and say that he didn't stop enough pucks because the backup was in a game seven, and all of a sudden, like, well, Pecorino is not getting any of the blame. Soros gave up 4 goals in game seven. It's like, well, no, you guys probably could have won this series if Rene didn't play like garbage.
Yeah, I mean, like, totally, like, if you want to put Saros in, put him in, but putting him in now could destroy his
Yeah,
confidence, like no matter what.
no, you're absolutely right. It'll be interesting to see because I think it depends. I think the leash is short for Rene, but not short enough that we'd see Saros unless like 7 goals were given up in the first 2 periods.
No, no, I say
So it's a loose
if
leash.
Rene gives up like 4 goals in the like really bad goals in the first period or two, you can see Saros be put in, but then it's not really like Saros has a lot of pressure on him, so it's
Right,
different.
because
But if you throw him
that
in
game could be already close to over at that point.
exactly, and if you throw him in at the beginning, it's 0-0, clean slate. You're like Saros, you got to perform for 60 minutes.
Yeah. I'm sure he
That's
would prefer those 60 minutes, but like if it was in a game four.
yeah. If the series was 2-2 and you're saying I want to put Saros in, or the series is 2-0 or 2-1 and you're saying I want to put Saros in, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, you are the ambassador for the not non-elimination game changeup.
Yeah.
It's
All right,
becoming your
but
brand.
my counterpoint to that is Winnipeg as a team have been fairly consistent game to game.
Yeah, no, I mean they've been getting a lot of attacking chances that the Predators aren't. Like PK
Yeah. I
Subban, the
mean,
offensive defenseman that he is, as good as that is for his team, the fact that he has a goal in 3 straight games just goes to show what the forwards and centers are lacking.
if you want to bring up stats again, let's see, where's
Sure,
Nashville in
why don't you
our
be the numbers guy?
NHL scoring? Um, Nashville's the top player is Philip Forsberg.
That doesn't surprise me, but
He is number 12 on the list, which rates points, right? So he's 12 points in the
hmm
playoffs. He's tied with Kucherov, but Kucherov has one more goal than him.
okay. I mean, look. I mean, we said that the Lightning, their top one was at number 11, but
Oh, exactly, Kucherov, right?
Right.
So
So it's not the biggest difference, but I feel like there a fall off between 11 or number 12 and their next one.
let's see. I'm looking. Um,
Do a little number
the
forecasting.
next person for Nashville is actually 16, Ryan Johansson.
Okay, so
But
again
the thing
another
is, right?
another forward.
Winnipeg has number 6, Mark Scheifele.
And he's back
I
now.
think that's it. Yeah. Number 10 on the list is Blake
Uh
Wheeler.
huh.
14 is Dustin Bufflin.
Okay, so you have three within the top 15, and
Yeah.
Nashville has two outside the top 10, but inside the top 20.
Inside, yeah. And then if you want to go inside the top 20 still, Winnipeg has Paul Stastny inside the
Yeah,
top
so it's
20,
it's four players versus two in terms of
basically.
contribution.
So, I mean, it just shows you that a lot
And we're
more
not even
players on
talking about
Winnipeg are
Line A being
stepping
there
up.
either.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so I mean,
Line A is 29 on the list.
yeah, so
Uh,
so they've been getting pretty solid production in.
yeah, so, I mean, Winnipeg has been getting production from everywhere. And you have Nashville, who literally has two guys.
Yeah.
Because after Johansson at 16, I don't know where the next guy's. What I think is number 34 on the list, Austin Watson.
Yeah, I don't think he was on the Cup run team last year.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just like you need players to not only step up offensively, but you need players to step up your defense. Your four number one defensemen to step up defensively,
Yeah,
be number one
and they're
defenseman.
not generating enough chances to take any pressure off of those defensemen either.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that if they played clean, the defensemen played cleaner, and the game was better transition based for Nashville, it would be a lot easier for the offense too. I think it falls on both teams. It's like they're not generating enough offensive zone time, and they're not really clearing their zone easily either.
Yeah, I think they're flawed in a couple different areas, which as the playoffs were on, it it's just not how teams survive and advance when there's multiple areas where they're having trouble. You get away with one round, maybe two with that, but you can't win a cup like that.
Yeah,
So I mean, we'll see if PK Subban's guarantee lives up to itself, but it's an uphill battle. And I don't even mean to get to Game 7. I mean just to win Game 6 is probably an uphill battle.
definitely. All right, so I mean, let's talk about the last series, which has a game going on right now. We're recording this on Sunday, May 6th. And the game going on is Vegas and San Jose. They're playing Game 6. It's currently, if you're wondering, 1-0 Vegas with 4:50 left in the second.
Yeah, I think Marshall, or I don't remember
Yeah,
how to
Jonathan Marchessault.
Marchessault as he was the lone goal scorer so far. Went a little 5-hole action, split the
Yeah,
legs.
it was Marchessault from Smith Carlson at 6:33 in the second.
Yeah, and no Joe Thornton in this game.
Yeah,
So captain of the Sharks out in an elimination game must be a big injury.
yeah,
Because
he
yeah,
wouldn't
hockey
just
tough guys
sit
wouldn't miss
himself
it.
out. Yeah, he would not miss it for the world.
So there must be something seriously wrong with him. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, and yeah, my note for the series. Prior to this, Game 1 was a huge blowout by
And
Vegas.
ever since,
2 and 3 were really, really close games.
and then it's kind of getting back to a looser game. Cause then
Game 4 was a blowout by the Sharks, right?
huh,
So,
they're starting to get a little bit more of a spread margin.
I mean, like, it just shows you like Vegas can get gain momentum and ride with it, and then they can also, both teams can play the gritty close game, as you can see from games 2 and
Mm-hmm.
3, and then it shows you that San Jose can also pull a pretty decisive victory out, like they did in Game 4 when necessary.
Yeah, but
Um,
I mean, we'll see what if when necessary if that comes to fruition. Because tonight, Game 6, it is necessary or they're going home.
Yeah, but I mean, aside from those two games, right, the 7-0 Vegas win Game 1 and the 4-0 San Jose win Game
They've
4,
been keeping it
the
close.
series has been really, really close. Like, you would see all games aside from one of them so far have been one-goal games, and I'm pretty sure that one that wasn't Game 5, was that an empty netter? I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember, to be honest with you. Oh man, what a night!
I know it was really late in the third. That Game 5's fifth goal for Vegas was scored. So I think it was like a minute left in the third. So it probably was an empty netter.
Yeah, safe to assume we're not professionals anyway.
Yeah, no, it was an empty netter.
All right.
It was. But I think this series and Washington and Pittsburgh series are the best two series to watch for non-hockey fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Vegas just scored to make it 2-0.
Woo!
Nate Schmidt from Haula and Perron at 15:38 in the second.
Yeah, so it looks like the Sharks are probably going to go home just because Fleury's been playing so amazing in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks like we're setting up for them being the first team in the West to the conference finals. So
Yeah, conference final because they don't use plurals in the
right.
originating country. There's only one cup and there's only one final, even though there's really two.
Hey. All right. Well, I mean, that covers what I wanted from that game. Do you have anything to add?
I do not. I haven't really been watching that one. I just assume that Marc-Andre Fleury has been playing his butt off, and I think it's
I mean,
safe.
to be
safe
fair,
to
I
agree.
wish I could watch that
Yeah, me
series.
too.
It's just way too late for the East Coast.
Me too. Past my bedtime. Because, I'm a grown up who has a bedtime. Not really, but sometimes you just need to sleep.
Yep. All right. So what's
Sell
next on the agenda?
I was thinking we would just sell people on hockey as white noise and get NHL viewers up. But outside of product placement, we'll talk a little NFL draft. Nothing too in depth because there's 250 plus picks, and well, if we did that much research, we'd have to quit our jobs, and yeah, that's not gonna happen. So we got a top 10 and then best of the rest kind of thing. So number one overall pick, we had Baker Mayfield, quarterback from Oklahoma, going to the Browns. The Browns are linked to pretty much every quarterback in the draft, and this was not really a surprise because, well, they talk to everybody. And if you're just a general football fan, you probably hate the Patriots, and you probably like that the Browns took them because Mayfield's agent came out a couple days later and said, hey, we knew that the Patriots were going to try to trade up to the number 2 spot to take Mayfield if the Browns didn't take him. So, just out of respect to the league, you can't let that happen.
But like, if you look at it, right? So let's say Cleveland took what's his
Darnold.
name? Sam Darnold.
Which I'm not sold that
number
he was
one,
never,
right?
I'm not sold he was ever the number 1. I don't think he was the most polished prospect. He didn't.
But let's say let's say they did,
All
right?
right, just for the sake of hunky doriness, let's go for
Yeah,
it.
and then like, so you're saying that if the Patriots did then trade up, right? Because they go to
hmm
second, they pick up Mayfield. What does that leave with the Jets?
Well, I don't think Saquon Barkley would have gone to the Jets. I don't think they they're they need help everywhere, but I don't think they were ready for Teddy Bridgewater to like take it with all the pressure in the world because they signed him. Um, so I'm thinking they probably would have gone with either Josh Allen or Josh Rosen, and I just don't know that they don't trade down at that point. It would
Yeah.
have been a very Jets move to trade down too.
Yeah, I mean they already traded up there.
They trade up, so why not trade down? I mean,
Yeah, so
I
I
could have
mean,
seen them trading picks with the Bills. I really don't think that either team was really too attached to those picks, especially because the Bills
yeah,
had
but
another one in the first round.
yes they did.
So yeah,
Um, so I mean, sure we don't think Darnold was. I mean, from what all the analysts and stuff were saying, they thought Darnold was going to be picked by the Browns at number one. They were all pretty surprised when Mayfield
I'm
went.
not. I mean, Mayfield. Look, the thing about
I
him
mean,
is the problem with him was that he was like so passionate about the game that he would like yell at the crowd or like grab his jock a little bit. But the fact of the matter is if you have a dude who's that passionate for the game and you're the Cleveland Browns and you haven't had a quarterback who really has done anything good, you probably want the guy who's going to be so
yeah,
ecstatic to play football that
but
he'll grab his jock.
the people were also comparing it to like being
No,
Manziel,
he's not.
right?
I mean, he hasn't had nearly the magnitude of what Manziel had off the field. He had a little stupid incident, but like, I think the difference with him and Manziel is that he had one stupid incident. Manziel was also tied to like doing drugs recreationally, and he was tied to never being able to stop partying. Whereas Mayfield, he's not. He had one incident where he was arrested for being immature, and not to rationalize it and justify what he did because it's obviously still wrong, but like he hasn't had that follow up incident. He hasn't had multiple disciplinary actions uh, against him when he was in college, whereas Johnny Manziel had all those red flags. I think Mayfield, the problem with him on the field is maybe he's the dude who gets a little too into it, and off the field he had one issue. Honestly
Fair
didn't
enough.
see why he got as much flack as he did. Like I would have given him more flack for being a smaller quarterback, but the fact of the matter is the dude can ball. I would have loved if the Steelers picked him, but there was no way that that was going to happen.
All right. So, I mean, yeah, I agree that he was good, and I saw him going in the top three.
Yeah, I mean, he was all over the place in the mock drafts. He could have been anywhere from.
No, I think. Well, when the Jets traded up to three, I figured that you're gonna have two quarterbacks going, and I figured Mayfield and Darnold were the two quarterbacks that were gonna go.
Yeah,
Because everybody, I did not like. People were trying to speculate the Giants were gonna pick a quarterback. I was like, you're freaking dumb. They're not gonna pick a quarterback.
yeah, no. I mean,
And they
The
took.
Giants. Eli can throw 30 interceptions in a year. They'll still stick with him until that contract is up. But because Eli's won the rings, he's had the reins to the throne outside of being benched one game for like 13 years.
Which
So
was
yeah,
dumb.
it was a dumb thing to do. McAdoo was a wackadoo, not to make puns, but the dude was a moron. You don't blame the quarterback who's been in the starting lineup for 13 years and say it's his fault. Like, look how much winning they've done with him and how much losing they've
And
done with
do
the
you
head
see the
coach.
the supporting cast that he had when they were winning those
Yeah,
trophies?
not great, not great. Well,
Not like amazing. There was
they
no
never had a
like
strong running game those years either.
never had a strong running game. their wide receiver core, they found like diamonds in the rough.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Plaxico Burress, that first one, Plaxico Burress was a pretty stud receiver. He was in his prime then, but after
Yeah,
the second time around, they really didn't. I mean, they really
yeah.
shaking the container just to try to get anything to drip out. Um,
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think it was any surprise when the Giants picked Saquon
yes,
Barkley at number two.
and
He's the best player in the draft.
as a somewhat of a Penn State fan, Saquon Barkley is like if he's like one throw away from being able, like you know in baseball they say five tool player like can do it all. Saquon Barkley
Yeah,
is that, like he can catch, he can obviously run really well. Like the Browns probably were going to pick Saquon Barkley if they weren't convinced that they could get a solid running back in the second round, and they did get a pretty decent running back in the second round, so they took Mayfield. Um, but the Giants, if you look, like we said, if you look back at the years and years and past, they've been trying to get along with like fifth round picks that like burn out within a year in the running game, and they needed this. Like if you want to, if they keep Odell Beckham Jr. and they keep all the receivers that they've put so much time and money into, and they keep Eli, if you want to get those guys open with play fakes and whatever, you gotta have a run game, which they didn't have. You can't sell the play action when you don't have a run game. Uh, and now you add Saquon Barkley, and you can probably open up some other facets to the offense, not even in the running game. So they had to make this pick, and it was the best pick that they can make. Even if they had
oh
the
yeah,
number one
definitely.
overall pick, they still should have taken him.
Oh, oh, dude, if you had number one overall, number two overall, the like I was saying, going into the draft, if Saquon Barkley was there, you're picking him.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like the Giants would have had a dozen teams trying to trade up to get Barkley, but I think the Giants realized that they needed Barkley more than other teams did.
Yeah.
It was absolutely a must take, and then
Oh, definitely.
the Jets at number three. Like speaking of must takes, they needed a quarterback. They really needed everything because they spent the past 3 years drafting safeties in the first round and really only have two safety spots where you need to play guys, but they decided that they were going to draft three of them anyway. So they need help everywhere, but they decided to get the most thought to be number one overall, Sam Darnold, quarterback at number three. So not a bad move there. You just gotta hope that it's not like the last first round quarterback that they took, which was Mark Sanchez, and a quarterback out of USC. So, deja vu.
Eh.
We'll see.
But yeah, so I mean, I
Only
felt
time will
like that
tell.
was really expected once Mayfield went number one. Everybody expected the Jets to take Darnold.
Yeah,
So
and then you had Cleveland at number four, and look, the Browns needed everything. They have Miles Garrett or Jarrett, however it's pronounced, as a front seven defensive lineman. Uh, Played pretty well in his rookie year. They probably have okay depth at linebacker, but they probably were like they probably wanted to solidify the secondary. They let Joe Hayden walk last year, so they went for the cornerback Denzel Ward because numbers don't really lie that often, and when you give up 70% completion percentage to opposing teams, you need that number to go down. You
oh,
need a
definitely.
cornerback, and so they got the number one cornerback that was available. They probably, if they drafted a dude like Bradley Chubb, it probably would have been a very cool dynamic combination with Jarrett and Chubb, but I don't think that they need a dynamic duo when they're giving up like 20-yard pass plays.
Yeah, and speaking of Bradley Chubb, he went fifth
Yeah,
overall to
NC
Denver.
State
He's a
product. Yeah,
defensive end.
very explosive defensive end. Um, and again, one of those teams that Baker Mayfield would have been drafted to because he had a. There was a story that came out. He had a visit at the Denver Broncos stadium with John Elway, and Paxton Lynch, the one of the other quarterbacks, walked into the room. Or no, who is it? Dude who just signed there. Case Keenum walked in, uh, and it was a little bit of a weird moment. So I mean, they probably didn't need him if you're going to invest in Case Keenum. Could have just been playing a game with that one, but still, you never know what would have happened there. So Bradley Chubb
Yeah.
instead,
So,
because like defensively, this was last year was one of the worst
but
years that the Broncos had.
I mean, he's also expected to be immediate
Oh,
impact kind of
absolutely,
guy. So,
absolutely,
I mean, any team really
plug and play.
wanted him. Like, I think if teams didn't value quarterbacks so high, you would see like Barkley, Ward, and Chubb going one, two, three.
Yeah, no, there's a reason why the Heisman Trophy and all the other awards go quarterback first and everybody else second,
Yeah.
which is weird because you think, I mean, quarterbacks are only as good as the offensive line in front of them, but you rarely see it awarded and drafted like that. But that does take us to number 6. An offensive lineman was taken, Quentin Nelson by the Colts. Uh, Jacoby Brissett took over for the injured Andrew Luck last year, and
And they still give up a ton of sacks.
proceeded to get absolutely slaughtered by defenses and the offensive line with their hands on their hips instead of blocking. Did not really do a great job. So, I mean, if you want to keep guys out of the ER who play for the Colts, you had to do this. And probably, I would hope that they drafted a couple other guys for that offensive line too, because it was bad. You probably could let Train go through that offensive line,
Yeah, and I mean
metaphorically
that
speaking.
they needed it there, they drafted it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then number 7 went Josh Allen,
Josh
another
Allen, yeah.
quarterback to the
Big
Bills,
arm,
and the
rocket arm.
Bills, another team that needed to draft a quarterback. Like they traded away Tyrod Taylor. What they have Peterman who plays like
Yeah, yeah.
crap.
Take it from a Pitt fan. I have no idea what happened to Peterman because he went to Pitt and was pretty decent. And then, like in the preseason last year, he got like really good reviews from his teammates. Like they were campaigning for him to start over Tyrod Taylor in the regular season, and just absolute train wreck. Absolute train wreck in the regular season. So it's hard to say what happened there, but I don't think he was going to be the quarterback of the future in Buffalo, New York either. So, but when they traded Tyrod Taylor, again, they just made the playoffs last year, so you can't say like, oh, we're going to rebuild now, because like it's like you just had your most successful season in 20 years. Build off of
Yeah.
it, not rebuild. Build. You can't make that Bills Mafia crowd go like absolutely insane. If
I
there
mean,
is another,
they're
yeah,
insane enough to
if there
jump
is
off
another
tables.
level to it.
Hold on, they're already insane. They jump onto folding tables, right? That's them,
Yeah,
right?
no, through folding tables, not
Yeah,
on them,
well,
through them. I know it's
I
semantics,
mean,
but
they gotta
through.
hit them, so they gotta land on them. It's just they
Yeah,
happen to land with so much momentum that they break
no,
them.
yeah, you're absolutely right. It was crazy. I can't imagine putting myself in an inebriated state enough to do that, but kudos to those who do. I mean, that's a special amount of dedication that I just really don't wish to ever see myself tap into. That's probably when I
Yeah,
feel
all right.
like I've been like losing balance in my life.
All right, moving on to number
All
8
right.
though.
So the Bears take a
Um,
linebacker because really, why not? The Trubisky looks like a decent pickup from last year. They signed some wide receivers. They got Trey Burton from the Eagles. And then they have Tariq Cohen, and they have Josh Howard or Jordan Howard in the running back slots. So really, it gave him a chance at that high of a position in the draft to take a defensive player. Probably a solid move. Uh, can't say that they didn't need help in the secondary, but they probably took the best that was available at that point in time. And so linebacker it is. I honestly couldn't name a
Yeah.
linebacker worth noting since Urlacher played for the Bears, and there's another one
So,
too. Oh,
but
Lance
I
Briggs
mean,
were the other.
my
Yeah,
philosophy in the draft is like, unless you really, really need something, pick the best available. So that would be basically pick the best available unless you're drafting a quarterback.
yeah, yeah. Or unless you really don't need that position.
Yeah,
Wait, yeah, and we'll
exactly.
touch on
So I
that
mean,
more
I think that
later,
was a,
but
but I think that was a fine pickup for the Bears
yeah,
there.
and then 49ers at number 9, they got an
They pick
offensive
up
tackle because he just gave Jimmy Garoppolo the most money of any NFL player ever. You might as well protect him. Ju-
yeah, but I mean,
You might
he
as
has to
well
make the
just
team.
change this dude Mike McGlinchey's position from OT to ROI because really this is a return on investment move. Protect your assets, and that's really what they did. And then the round out the top 10, the Cardinals,
They have
yeah,
Josh
Josh
Rosen.
Rosen, because really Sam Bradford, they just signed him, and that's all hunky dory and everything. But the he's gonna get hurt. It's happened like every year. He gets hurt.
But also, like, Arizona is literally a revolving door for quarterbacks. Also,
Yeah, I mean Matt Leinart, all those other guys, Carson Palmer, who had like a borderline MVP year and then just like never touched it
fell
again.
off.
Well, he was like 36 when he had his MVP year, so
Yeah,
let's not say that like he wasn't on the decline anyway.
yeah,
But look, if Sam Bradford, there's like a 94% chance he's gonna get hurt by for week 8. So like it's a decent pick if it pans out, and we'll probably know by the end of the season if it's gonna pan out. It's just how it'll go. Because if Sam Bradford is there, someone else will probably step up uh, afterwards, like Case Keenum did, and how Carson Wentz did. It's there's as every seat that Sam Bradford gets up to leave, someone else comes in, sits on it, and all of a sudden they just play out of their mind. So we'll see. It could be the best pick of the draft if that philosophy holds up.
yep. All right, so I mean that rounds out the top 10. Um,
Yeah, and
move on to the
yes, yeah, the
notables.
notables. Yeah, at number 16, the Bills took a linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds from Virginia Tech, and his brother was picked up by the Steelers at 28. A safety, Terrell Edmonds. They're the first brothers to be taken in the same round of the NFL
In the
draft. So congrats to them. Even though their word is Terrell Edmonds probably was like a third round pick, and for some reason the Steelers thought it was necessary to take him in the first. Don't really know, but we needed a safety and got rid of Mike Mitchell this year finally. So good luck. We're hoping that you're the next Troy. No pressure.
All right, and then next notable pick is the Ravens picked quarterback Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson at number
Yeah,
32.
which is a nice pick, and it's close to home in terms of him playing at Louisville in college, and it's the nearby team. It's feel good, all that great stuff, except for if you're Joe Flacco, and this kind of is like, well, how much loyalty do the Ravens have to me? So we'll see how that works out. There's a little bit of a head scratcher, but it was a
Yeah,
first round pick, and like you said, sometimes you just gotta take the best available. Um,
yeah.
Then in the second round, I thought it was noteworthy. The Iowa Hawkeyes ball hawking uh, cornerback Josh Jackson, which I was actually hoping that the Steelers would take in the first round because the dude's just a playmaker. The Packers got him, so Packers defense may be on the rise. And then later on, the Eagles drafted a tight end in the second round. Dallas Gobert, I think is his name. Despite the fact that they have two Pro Bowl tight ends in Zach Ertz and Brent Selleck still on the roster. And they're both
Yeah.
locked up for like 2 more years at least. So, not really sure why they did that because the best way to win championships is to stack talent that you don't need on the bench, I guess. See, this is what I mean earlier when I say, like, you draft the best available, except for in the positions where you don't need it. They really didn't need it. How many tight ends are you throwing on the field at one time?
Max
Yeah,
2.
so this one kind of puzzled me. It, it,
All right, and then
and then
the
the
Steelers.
exciting
This one.
Steelers fan lifestyle that I live. Happy that Martavis drops Bryant was finally shipped out of town to Oakland for a third round pick. And then they immediately drafted another wide receiver, which I really don't know why. But it makes for a nice feel good story because this same wide receiver and quarterback Mason Rudolph, who was drafted in the third round, both went to Oklahoma State. So good for them. They get to be buddies together on the bench, but I really don't understand why. So in the third round, then we took Mason Rudolph, the quarterback. I'm hoping that pans out better than Landry Jones did. But in typical Ben Roethlisberger style, he goes from last year where he was like, maybe I don't have it anymore, and they should draft a quarterback for when I'm not around, to like, oh, I'm not sure why they drafted a quarterback. I want to play another 3 to 5 years. So this
I
is
mean, you're also drafting a quarterback in the third round. I don't think he's going to be ready this season and probably not next season either.
yeah, but this is just Ben being Ben. He plays the
Yeah.
drama card like a bitch. I'm really getting tired of it, to be honest. This guy is supposed to
And
be the
then,
team leader, and he's got such an ego that he just can't
yeah,
check at the
so
goddamn door.
I mean, so move on to I think this is the best,
The feel good,
the most noteworthy pick of the
feel good.
draft. It's the Seahawks select Shaquem Griffin, a linebacker in the fifth round, number 141
Mm-hmm.
overall. He is the he has only one
Yep,
hand, right?
one hand.
So
Had it amputated when he was a child because of circulation issues, I believe.
yeah, and the Seahawks also drafted his brother the year
Yeah,
before, so I thought that was pretty
yeah.
cool.
So I think it's a great feel good story, but based on how he did in his senior year at UCF and in the combine, the dude's a stud. So uh, I I reserve judgment until seeing if they actually use him. I'd love to see him actually play. The
Yeah,
thing
that would
about
be a
his,
great
it
story.
would be a great story. The only thing that keeps me a little ish is if he gets drafted to the same team that his brother is on. That kind of seems like it might be a consolation prize to not being played a lot. I
Hey, I
mean, we'll
mean,
see, and I hope I'm proven wrong. I would love to see the dude play. I would have been happy if the Steelers picked him with Shazier hurt, but uh, we'll see how it happens. It's a little up. There's pros and cons. There really is.
definitely. I mean,
It's
you're
definitely
also
plausible to think that he's not going to get a lot of playing time first year just because he's a rookie. But the dude's a
no,
stud.
also like it is the fifth round, right? Like at certain points, you're just like, all right, like let's just who we think might pan out for us, and if you get somebody who pans out in the fifth, sixth round, like that's
No,
great.
but
If they
Sean, he
don't,
was picked in the fifth round because he has one hand. He was a first
I
round
know,
talent.
I know, but still, like that's the mentality I go in with the lower rounds is like they have high upsides, but then again, you're picking them so low that you want to see if they can reach their upsides, not necessarily they're gonna reach their upsides. Because you pick somebody in the first round, you're like they better reach their upside, like their upside. You pick somebody in the fifth round, you're like we'll take a chance on them.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Uh, I just hope it pans out for him. Like the dude deserves it. He so much adversity, and you just wish for the best. Not that I don't think that you were saying to any other point, but like just reinforcing that that's kind of where I stand.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I wish him the best too.
Yeah.
I'm just
So yeah, that was the bulk of the draft. Sure, some kickers, punters, and all those other guys were drafted. I saw some dude in the seventh round got picked from Australia. So that'll be interesting. Not really sure who he went to or what position he plays, but good luck to the Aussie. Although, actually, come to think of it, a lot of punters now are Australians. So yeah, you never know. I could have
yeah.
just brushed by that one. So yeah, with that we have NFL draft talk. We didn't really do a lot of team grading here because we didn't really look every round in. That was going to be too much research. But as a Steelers fan, I'd say C with a potential for B as a team grade. Like they did some reaching that they didn't need to do. I hope it pans
No,
out well,
I
but
really liked. So I mean, I agree with you with the Steelers, but like for the Giants, because I'm a
mhm.
Giants fan, right? Like, I think they did like a solid BB plus. I really liked their draft.
Yeah, I think
I
that the
think it
Giants did great.
really covered what we
Didn't you guys
needed.
draft an O lineman too? Somewhere along the way?
Dude, I'm pretty
Yes,
sure.
which is good because their O linemen kind of were stinking. So, but yeah, so now we finish up with a little basketball talk. I don't think really there's a lot of surprises in the NBA. On the West, you got the Warriors. They're up 3-1 in their series lead over the Pelicans. They won a game earlier today, and well, after that, I mean, you didn't really think that the Pelicans stood much of a chance. I think they thought that they did, but and I'd like to see the series get better. I just don't know that it will. Uh, the Rockets are up 2-1 in their series over the Jazz. Ricky Rubio is not playing in Game 4 tonight. It's probably going to go 3-1 the Rockets' way. Kind of hope that it doesn't if you're a casual fan. But this is how predictable it's become.
Yeah, I mean, those two series in the West are like, meh, I expected that.
Yeah, these are the series that you don't really need to watch. And then on the East, like I don't know, you probably were drawn into the Cavs Raptors series because the Cavs were taking the Game 7 by the Pacers. The Raptors, they got to the second round, and you kind of, is this the year that the Raptors can win it? And that,
They fell
yeah,
flat on their
yeah.
face.
They're
Hey,
0
every game's game
yeah,
seven.
every game's Game 7. They've lost 3 of them in this round. They've lost like 5 of them, if not 6 of them in the first 2 rounds. So every game's Game 7, and from here on out, it literally is. It
Basically.
literally is.
Yeah.
So they're not doing too hot in their 7-game series with themselves, and LeBron is hitting game winners. So that's probably like the death of the
And then
Raptors.
we hit the only surprising series in my book.
Yeah.
It's the Celtics up 3-0 on the
Yeah,
Sixers.
so this is the night
Um,
where my predictions for the playoffs die because the Bruins lost, and I thought that Philly was a lock to take it to the finals. Um, and yeah, the inexperienced team is there now. It's
yeah, but
crazy.
I mean, I'm just surprised that it's not like, yeah, like I expect it to be like 2-1 or something. Either way,
Yeah,
really.
I mean, there was a game 3 was really close, and you had back and forth where Boston essentially won it in the last 5 seconds. But other than that, I mean, Philly really needed that game 3 win at home, and now they're they're they have 1 foot out the door. Not, I mean,
Yep.
they've been forced out with 1 foot out the door. I don't think they're willingly leaving, obviously, but it's an incredible uphill battle, and reverse sweeps are just so rare in sports that it's it's
I
the
mean,
end of the
it's
Philly
not
year. It
impossible, but it's really near
Yeah,
there.
it's like it's not a lock, but it's as close to a lock as you can have without like really just it being that last step.
Definitely. Yeah, but I mean, I just wanted to bring up that series was probably the one I was looking for. That was definitely the one series I was looking forward to the most because I thought it would be really close.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've had 3-1 series in sports being blown in the past, so maybe this is the year of the reverse sweep. Maybe we'll see some historical stuff that we've never seen before. I think history just dictates that we'll maybe see it once every blue moon or like every like X amount of years, and I just don't know that it happens in the NBA anymore. It's just too lopsided a league for it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's gonna be tough, but I do hope that the Sixers show some fight.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'd actually say I'd watch those games because I really haven't been watching, but I'd watch those games if it came down to that kind of crunch time, like make or break game 7 scenarios, or even if it got to like a really close second half of a game 6. But we're a long way away from those.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's really all I have on basketball. I mean, when there's only so many teams remaining, it's such a predictable sport at this stage. There's really not like a lot of surprises. As
Cavs Warriors finals, anybody?
yeah, here we go again. I mean, now that LeBron's finally kicked his team into a 3-0 series lead, and it looks plausible. I mean, how do you feel about 4 years in a row of the same damn thing?
I mean,
Makes for entertaining
considering I
basketball.
stopped
Yeah.
watching it after
After the first time,
the
yeah.
first year.
This is great for the brand of basketball. Is it's just play the same episode on repeat for 4 years. Like,
Like, do we even need to watch 82 games of regular season and 3 series
I
of
mean, what's the
playoffs?
point of even having salary caps for teams if they're all just gonna go to the Cavs or Warriors anyway?
But I mean, like, do we really need to see 30 some teams
No,
play
no, no.
82
We,
regular
we
season
really
games?
don't.
And
We probably could just pick up the NBA season in April and just forget the whole October to March thing.
why don't we just pick up the finals when it's Cavs Warriors and
Well, if you put the finals in April, then they don't have to compete with hockey, and you can get some hockey viewers. So hey, spring is in the air, and it's Cavs Warriors.
basically?
Woo! It's gonna be the same damn thing. I'm ecstatic, Sean. Can you tell?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Can't wait. I bet someone's gonna throw a mouth guard at a fan, and it's gonna be the subject of conversation for like a week and 6 days. Someone's gonna throw a parade, and they're already gonna. They won't even have to like plan out the parade route because they've done it before within the past 5 years. So they'll just go down to the city office and be like, "Oh, look, this was here," and then yeah, it's gonna be the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
And maybe Houston will actually win a consolation prize this year if they make it to a conference final.
They got him.
I mean,
Well,
it's
I
theirs to
mean,
lose to make it to a conference final, and that for them, that's
yeah.
like winning the finals.
I mean, like, even if they make it to conference final, are they really going to beat Golden
Nope,
State? Like,
nope. It's just too predictable that Golden State's going to come out firing and beat them. Like they have a chance on paper, but come on, predictable pasts
yeah.
make for predictable futures.
That's all I got for
Yeah,
basketball.
I mean that's all I got too. So that being said, let's hope for some comebacks in these series. Let's hope for game 7s. As neutral fans, as biased fans,
I'm
we're looking
looking
for comeback 2 on my end. And yeah,
definitely.
we'll see how it goes.
I'm looking in hockey for Washington, Pittsburgh to go to 7, and for Nashville and Winnipeg.
Either way, this next episode next week is going to be either a lot of fun or it's going to be a bummer because I'm just emotionally way too invested for it not to be. So catch the next episode next week. See if I just go incredibly monotone voice and just have absolutely nothing to say about how the Penguins didn't stop pucks and pinch on defense, or if I just absolutely go and start fist pumping, which would make for bad radio broadcasting, but because of all the excitement I'll have. So we'll see how it goes.
If he does that, we'll just have to mute him, and it'll just be me speaking in the podcast
And
anyway.
I mean,
so.
that's how you get experience.
I mean, even if if Pittsburgh loses, it'll probably just be me speaking in the podcast anyway at that point.
Get very familiar with the word. Yeah, Shaan. That phrase probably is going to be uttered 20, 30 times. So I think if for the sake of a good show, rooting for the Penguins. And by the way, I remembered the Milano tradition that you hated on in one of our first episodes. I'm not sure if you remember.
Last episode?
Regardless, I don't know if you remember. You came down to North Carolina the year that tradition started. You were involved in said tradition the inaugural year it started. So I don't want to hear any more.
I was witness.
No, you took part. I don't want to hear any more crap about how that was stupid or how it has no impact. You were involved.
I don't remember taking part in said tradition.
There's no way that me and my father are going to allow you to just not eat a Milano after a Penguins win.
All right. Well, I don't remember, so...
You know how my family dynamic is.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, no more knocking the Milanos.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep knocking it. Too bad.
Okay. I mean, bad radio, I guess, but... All right.
All right, well, thanks for listening.
Catch us next
you next
week
episode.
For the emotional heartbreak or outburst that will be coming. Yep.
Yep.
See ya.